Hey, sure, band is a business, and the question today is: are AI companies unfairly training their models on real music in order to make a profit and leave musicians and music producers out in the cold once again? Anyway, this video is prompted by an article I found. I will give some reactions to some parts of the article. I will link to it below so you can check it out yourself, and then later I will show you some music that I generated using an AI platform and let you make up your own mind as to whether they are using existing music to train their models. So the article is called SUNO is a music AI company aiming to generate $120 billion per year, but is it trained on copyrighted recordings? So the article is on musicbusinessworldwide.com. I will link to them below, and the article is written by Ed Newton Rex, who's the CEO of the ethical generative AI nonprofit organization called Fairly Trained. Now, the article it gives a background into this company called SUNO, SUNO. They were featured in a Rolling Stone article a few weeks ago, and the article gives you the background, but I'll just pick out a couple of things. So I will read from the article here. But there are hints that SUNO, like many other generative AI companies, may train its models on copyrighted content without permission. SUNO has not disclosed what it used as training data. In a recent piece in Rolling Stone, one of SUNO's investors was reported as saying they didn't have deals with labels, quote, when the company got started, end quote. There is no suggestion this has changed, that they invested in the company, quote, with the full knowledge that music labels and publishers could sue, end quote, and that the founders' lack of open hostility to the music industry, quote, doesn't mean we're not going to get sued, end quote. Taken together, these hints suggest that there is a decent possibility SUNO trains on copyrighted music without consent. And the rest of the article basically is about the author feeding in various prompts into the SUNO platform in order to create music, and discovering that it is very, very likely that it is being trained on existing music. Well, I mean, how else can it be trained? Something is being fed into it. But the author is quite careful to make an outright accusation. But if you listen to the music, then and if you see what they are prompting, it's hard to like see how it cannot be the case. So I'll just do one example. There are many examples on this article, but just show you one example of how he's prompting it, and he does it in different ways. So for example, SUNO will not generate your track if you use a well-known artist or track name as your prompt, but a trivial workaround is to slightly misspell the artist name in question. Using this approach, SUNO appears to generate vocals that sound like Eminem. The prompt: a rap song by an artist called Beminem, so Beminem. This is the result. Yo, listen up, this is Eminem on the mic, dropping rhymes that hit with all my mic. Yeah. I spit fire, make the crowd go wild. A rap king, ain't no one in my style. So that sounds like Eminem to me, right? So yeah, in the rest of the article, he does something similar. He gives different kinds of prompts, using song titles that are not quite the same as something that is well known. So for example, 70s pop with the title Prancing Queen, not Dancing Queen by ABBA, or Bohemian Symphony instead of Bohemian Rhapsody. And often you're getting production that is very similar to the intended song, or vocal the noise of somebody's voice, the sound of somebody's voice that is very similar to a particular artist. And this is all kinds of examples which I won't go into, but again I will share the link below and you can check it out. But anyway, right at the end of the article, he says, I hope that SUNO will clarify what their models are trained on. We should be supportive of generative AI companies that respect creators by licensing the training data they use. We should not be supportive of those that don't. The only way for the music industry and the generative AI industry to coexist in a mutually beneficial way is with a framework of training data licensing. Without licensing, AI companies are unfairly exploiting creators' work to build competitors to those creators. See, that's the thing, right? Because if so SUNO, you can already, I think it's $10 a month or whatever. If it costs less to pay, if the membership for SUNO is less than it is for Spotify or Tidal or Deezer or YouTube Music or whatever, and you can get results that are very similar, then a lot of people will just opt for the cheaper option. They will happily listen to music that sounds like Ed Sheeran but isn't quite Ed Sheeran, or sounds like Taylor Swift but isn't Taylor Swift, if it costs less money. And in the same way that people will buy knockoff brands of t-shirts that aren't, you know, the real deal, in the same way that a lot of people just don't have a very high bar for what they consume in their life, whether it's food or music or what they read or what they watch. And that sounds very judgmental on my part, but you know, I'm the same in a way, because I'm not really the kind of person that is interested in going to fancy restaurants. I'm not really a foodie, and people that are, they kind of look down on me. Not, they don't look down on me necessarily, but they judge me as having different tastes and different requirements. For I like to cook my own food. I do like to eat food that I consider tasty and healthy, but I would not consider myself a foodie. On the other hand, I don't really like fast food. If there's nothing else around and I'm traveling and I need to eat something, then I will get something from a fast food place, but it's not something that I enjoy or like to eat regularly. Whereas there are people that they love eating fast food. So again, I'm judging them in a way, and they have different requirements for what they eat, and the same goes for music, for all kinds of content. And yeah, it's just a reality we're going to be living in, where these AI companies or machine generated content companies are undermining the real musicians, as it were. And the thing is, I don't have an issue with that, but the problem is that they are standing on the back of the real musicians. They are using what real musicians created, and real music producers and lyricists, and they're standing on the back and using that to create their own stuff, and then undermining us and throwing us under the bus, which doesn't seem fair. And they're pretending, oh well, we're not really using, they're cagey about it. Obviously they are. Anyway, I thought, let me jump over to SUNO and see what kind of music I can create with it. And I used the following prompt: a song by a world famous female country and pop artist about being better off without a boyfriend. Who could I possibly be thinking of? Well, let's see what the machine algorithm, the computer, the AI mind thinks of when I use that prompt.
I used to cry myself to sleep, thinking about what went wrong. But now I'm dancing in the rain, feeling like a brand new song.
Who does this remind you of?
Traded heartbreak for freedom, love for independence. I'm finding strength in solitude, discovering my own existence. You held me back.
It's quite good, don't get me wrong.
But now I'm standing tall, walking through these city lights. No longer tied down, I'm spreading my wings, taking flight. I'm better off without you, living my life with all my might. I'm better off without you, I'm stronger than before. I'm breaking free from your chains, walking through that open door. I'm better off without you, I'm standing on my own. I'm finding my own rhythm, singing a brand new song.
Obviously that sounds like Taylor Swift. And here's the issue, right? Does Taylor Swift own the rights to her own voice? Can a company just mimic her voice and make money off of that? I don't think that's the case. I think people that are voice artists, for example, that do voices for cartoons, they have a right for their voice not to be used by other companies. And so I think the same applies for AI generated stuff, right, or machine generated stuff. You can't just mimic another person's voice and then take advantage of that, because yeah, again, there's going to be people who think, because I'm not going to lie, that song sounded pretty good to me, right, for the genre, and there will be people that think to themselves, okay, I would happily listen to that rather than the real thing, and that is listening time that is going towards this platform and not to Taylor Swift. And the AI company or the machine generated content company is making money, and Taylor Swift is not. Now you might think it doesn't matter, Taylor Swift is a billionaire, but you know, it goes for all musicians, and it sucks money out of the whole music industry ecosystem. So we're talking not just the big labels, but we're talking music studios and session musicians and all that kind of stuff. They don't need to be paid, because look, we're just going to create music. We're going to generate it with our platform, and it doesn't seem fair that you can mine existing content, whether it's visual art, video art, books, articles, music, lyrics, and then create a company that earns money without compensating the people that you used to create that. And now the people that create these platforms, they will say, well, humans remix things in their head, so why can't a machine do that? But yeah, what I would say, the difference, especially when you're mimicking, the mimicking is what really bothers me, because if you're just doing some kind of generic dancey electronic music, it's really hard to argue that you're mimicking somebody and trying to take away some, you know, you're kind of jumping on the back of somebody else. But if you're mimicking people's voices, then I don't think there's any way you can excuse that. But that's just my opinion. Now this conversation, it's gonna go on. It's a whole big philosophical topic, right? Which I don't really have time to go in now. But if you're interested in me talking about this, leave a comment. But it's gonna go way beyond the idea of people just creating music with a little prompt for themselves, which is fine. The technology is really impressive. You know, don't get me wrong. It's very interesting. And who am I to say that people can't create music for themselves and enter their own lyrics so that a song is created for them? You know, who am I to say that people can't do that? But it's going to get to the point where you could, if you're wearing a phone that is providing biofeedback, then you don't even need to provide a prompt anymore, right? You could you could just say, okay, I want music to make me feel really pumped up and happy, and it will measure your heart rate, and then depending on that, it will start adjusting the music. It will also look back at the music that you enjoyed in the past, again based on biofeedback, or you know, just I liked that or didn't like that. Also, the people, all the other users of a particular platform that are similar to you, it will take all the data it gets from them. So basically, you're just going to be getting this content pumped straight into that is tailor made to either making you feel good or any other emotion that you want in the moment. And yeah, potentially this could literally be all kinds of content: audio, visual, text, that is generated on the in real time to make you feel excited or sad or inspired. So this is way beyond using prompts to create music. It's like this is a whole new world for humanity in terms of how we take in content. Yeah, some people, well, you know, personally at that point, I think you might as well just take substances to make yourself just feel good all the time. But some people, they will happily do that. They will happily watch and listen to and read and eat anything that just makes them feel good in the moment. But yeah, but then again, the machine learning could be so advanced that it could challenge you as well, and not always give you what you want, and not always give you stuff that that makes you feel good. So there's that aspect as well. I think it's it's the honestly, it's the first steps into the melding of human and machine in terms of our minds. But that's a whole other conversation to be had. Maybe another time, but let's think about music. Look, if you're a musician, at the end of the day, hopefully you're doing it because you enjoy the act of creating yourself, and that will give you more satisfaction than just entering a prompt. And if people want to enter prompts and or use it as a tool, I'm not against that, and I'm not going to sit here and say I never will do it, because I might do in the future. At the moment, I really enjoy learning to play an instrument. I love learning about music theory, and it's not about just having it all easy and tailor-made for you. It's a part of it is the struggle of doing it, which gives me the satisfaction. And in 5 to 10 years, people will probably look at me as some kind of old-fashioned idiot, like I don't know, like people that think, I don't use fancy entertainment. I prefer to go out into the woods and build a shack out of wood and build my own entertainment by carving little dolls out of wood. I don't know what I'm talking about, but basically, yeah, to us, that is a kind of a niche activity, right? To like distance yourself from society in that way. And in 5 to 10 years, maybe I will be looked upon like that as well. Anyway, look, things are changing, and you can go along with it, and you can also do your own thing, and you can do a combination of the two. So we'll see what happens, but it's very interesting, and I'm sure I will have a play around with it. But for now, I really enjoy the tactile aspect of playing an instrument, of trying to get music theory into my head, of learning songs, singing with my own voice, learning to becoming a better singer, all of those things, just engaging with my humanity and the limits of my physical body, and trying to push that as far as I can in order to express myself and the realness of me as a human being. Anyway, that's just my thought for now, and I'm sure I will come back to this subject in the future. If you have anything to add or any comments about this, let me know, and I'm sure it'll be a very interesting discussion.